So I picked up this Toyota forklift here. So I wanted to pause and just add a couple details I forgot. This forklift was going to the junkyard and I ended up picking it up dirt cheap. Told me the 4Y Toyota motor in it was seized up and they just kind of gave up on it instead of putting more money into it and started parting it out. It's like a 3K lift. Being told the motor is seized. So far we've checked on where we're at here and we have nothing on the oil dipstick. Come around to the back. Pretty much nothing in the coolant reservoir. Squeezing the bottom hose, we can hear a little bit of slosh, but not much. So we're gonna get a battery swapped in just to hear it click and turn over. Not really turn over, but lock up on the starter. Probably not gonna turn on us. Notice down here, we do have a coolant leak. So you got like the stains from that. So we are losing coolant. Everything's covered in oil, so we're losing engine oil from somewhere as well. So it looks like a combo of things. Probably took this out, but we're gonna see if we can get the crank over. I'm missing the fan, and then it looks like the bottom pulley, the crank pulley, is also bent. So get a battery thrown in here real quick. We got this battery thrown in of unknown charge, but should be decent. Does turn over. It's more than they said it did. Maybe no compression. It doesn't look like they've pulled plugs because they're awfully caked. But it is turning over very slow, so it does sound like it was cooked at one point. We did some jerry rigging here. Got this propane fitting that won't fit on a normal tank. We're gonna see if we can get this to actually fire on a normal tank. I know we're supposed to have the right liquid output tank for a forklift, but I ain't got that right now. So took this off a grill connector. Didn't have a coupler, so used a union. And we're gonna throw this grill tank on there, see if it'll fire. So we got the propane on there upside down, so hopefully we're getting liquid out. A little bit of oil in here now. Get about 4 quarts. You gotta get it back in neutral. Oh, that's nice. Completely missing our water pump pulley bolt, so that fell off. Let's got the pulley the rest of the way off. Try it again. Oh yeah, distributor's unplugged, forgot about that. All right, so we got that distributor plug back on right there. We'll try this one more time. And nothing. I feel like I can smell propane though. Okay, so we got a spark tester in right here. Let's see what we're getting. Looks like intermittent spark. It's not very consistent. I don't know if we're able to see that. I'm gonna let the starter cool down for a little bit. Starting to get a little bit of smoke out of that wire right there, and we'll come back and try that again. So, looks like we might have a damaged pan right there, because that's where it looks like it's all the oil's coming out of. Corner of the pan. Looks like they might have ran over something. But we're just losing all the oil underneath. So we just got this thing lubed up with some degreaser. You're gonna try to get it off the trailer, all sketchy like, and just want to get it pressure washed out before we go ahead and get it in the barn to start working this thing, because it is disgusting. I don't know how well you can tell, but it is grimy. Grimy. So we're gonna try to get some of that off before we get it inside. That way we're not getting so filthy every time we touch this thing. So here's our horrible setup for getting down. The last part gets a little janky, less janky, kind of janky. If that whole thing slides, it messes all this up. These are screwed in together. I got that down because it's starting to break the deck because it's rotted over there. And we really don't have steering. We're going to use a limiting strap, not let this really take off much. I need to try to get it to bump up to go over, so I'm going to try to push it to get it started, where it's on that yellow thing over there. So I'm probably going to pull it back forward, kind of let it roll and hit that hopefully, and then ride it down into the barn. So we got the forklift into the barn. As you can see, it's leaking oil out of it because there's a hole in the pan. Got the engine pressure washed down a little bit, so it's a hair cleaner for us to work in here. We got like the most corroded, if I get light and focus, spark plug in the world right there. First thing we're gonna do is working on this is make some blocks to get it up off the ground with, so we can get under this thing to get the pan pulled off, get that welded up, because pans are surprisingly very expensive for this. Do a tune-up, get oil back into it, and see if we can get this thing to run. So we got the oil pan off. You can see that nice gash in it there, kind of caved in the oil drain plug area. And so we're gonna try to hammer that back out, get the shape of it down, get that drain plug back to a slightly lower point, so it should hopefully drain the oil better. Looks like there might be a dent about right there too. I don't know what these exactly look like. I've not seen one before, but typically that is on the lower end, and it looks like it should come down just a little bit more. So gonna hammer that out, try to weld that back together, and figure out what gasket or whatever this takes, because it's got two different types of RTV mixed in on it. Get this thing run back on. So we got the pan pounded back out. Hold it open up a little bit more. But I do think that that is going to work. Just gonna wait for this to cool down. I just heated everything up a little bit more to try to burn off any oils and water. And then we're gonna try to weld that in. So we got it pounded out. Got a weld on there. Not the most beautiful looking thing, but I think it's gonna work. Rough inside, so it looks like we got decent penetration. Already water tested it, that's why you're seeing rust and a little bit of moisture in here. It's had it soaking for about an hour with a paper towel under it, and absolutely no signs of anything coming out of there or the drain plug. So if this thing seals up good again, gonna get it all stripped with the RTV, painted up, get the pan side clean, got some of their dents taken out of there as well. Make those one right here, and then that center section there, kind of got that flattened back out. So start getting this prep, put it back in. So now we got it all slicked up with a coat of paint. Ended up fixing this lip right here from somebody had hit it with something and folded that over, so kind of got that re-strengthened. There's our goober weld. And let me get the finish getting the pan or the block ready, and we can get this thing on there. Forklifts is gross, because it was just cleaning out things I could see underneath here while I had the pan off. Just everything kind of around the pan, not including what was on the pan. There's a bunch. That is thick. Cake. It is under there. Forklifts are gross. Let's got the pan back on here. Painted up, looking nice. Everything all clean. That third bolt you can see on the far right there, oil came out of that when we took it down, and it is stripped going back in. So that's a really good thing. And then under the hood here, we took the distributor off, so we got that out. The wire ends in here are pretty raunchy, so if you look at that guy right there, it's a little rough. And looking at these ends of the wires, they're a little bad as well. Like that one right there. It's pretty much non-existent. So I was trying to hopefully get these cleaned up, put them back on. But that, of course, is the one that is that guy right there. So it makes sense. Probably gonna pulling these plugs out, just seeing what they look like. Throw a little bit of oil down the cylinders. Try to figure out what filter this thing has in it so I can get one of those. And then in a couple days, we'll get the tune-up kit that comes with plugs, wires, cap, and rotors under there somewhere. Get it all put back on here, see if this thing will actually fire up. So getting that first plug out, Never seen anything like this, but I also haven't worked on forklifts before. So you have this little cup that goes down in there. The spark plug sits through that. So you have like this gap kind of the head. So I can get in there on that before it gets down to spark plug bore. So it's kind of interesting, but yeah. Get this guy cleaned up. It actually has a Denso plug in it. Plug doesn't look hateful. The gap looks a little large, but get some plugs ordered for this thing. So we got our tune-up, our oil filter. You get these out. This came with the most no-name plugs, as they literally say nothing on them. So if they look the same, we're gonna try them. Probably end up going buying some NGKs or some Denzos. Denzos are in it now. These are like a 9 heat range, and looking it up, I think calls for a 16. Don't know how much of a difference that makes, but that's what we're looking at. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling all these and putting these new ones in, getting the little buckets clean, lubing everything, putting the filter in, which is in like a little weird spot where that rag's at. You can see right there, I got it covered for now. And get oil in it, which is an assortment of oils. We got some 1030, and we're gonna finish it off with some 1540, which all should be in range for this motor, and see if we can get this thing to fire. Just got that old Denso plug pulled out. See, it says Denso on there. Got the new plug right here. Absolutely nothing written on it. There's a couple burrs in the threads too, so I had to wire brush those out. But we're gonna try them out. All right, so we got the new cap, crappy plugs in. We got oil in. Got a battery hooked up. Get this thing on, crank it. Just trying to get some oil up through this thing. I'm gonna do this a couple times, and we'll try to throw a standard grill cylinder on this, even though it probably won't run, and see what happens. So after a couple times cranking, you can see our oil pressure dummy light went out. So we're getting oil pressure. Let's get propane on this thing. So I have taken off the standard forklift style connector, put on a grill one. They look about identical, but this one's a hair smaller than that. Gonna thread that on, set the tank upside down, see if the thing wants to fire. So real quick before we get to firing this thing up, you can see there's all the plugs we had. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 looks pretty daggone rough. All kinds of corrosion in there. But yeah, I don't know, let's see what happens. We're getting a little bit of fire out of it now. Well, we did. Now nothing. Let me check a couple things. Really don't know what. I'm going to get to the other side so I can try to give it a hair throttle at the same time. And probably not going to work. Probably need a real cylinder for this thing. But we're showing potential. So I ran it to a buddy's, got the right tank on it, got it all hooked up, got the old stuff off there. So let's see what this thing wants to do. It wants to. Put my camera down and give it a bit of throttle, see what happens. So giving it a hair of throttle, it actually will run, but it stalls out. So I know nothing about how propane and these things work and adjustments and all that, but I'm gonna look into it. Get this thing back on the ground and see if I can at least move it. As I let you rewatch this clip here, I'm gonna add that I did put the water pump pulley back on, put the belt on, and tidy a couple things up before we got to this next clip. I will also add in another quick note of you have to have coolant in these things or else your regulator freezes up trying to run liquid propane into it, and it doesn't work, so you gotta do that. So as you can see, we're already out of the barn, so it is running. I can hop off here, fire it up, turn it around, drive it back in. I don't think my temp gauge is working because I've ran it to where the coolant was starting to steam, bleeding it, and no climb in there, so try to get this thing turned around. something? No. Well, I had the brake on, that wouldn't help. Let's try not to get this thing stuck again. Not quite forklift certified yet. I gotta cross the moat here into the barn. Oh no, we shot a board out and we're stuck. Dag nabbit. We got the little moat fixed. Try to get this thing to go across again. Give it a little bit of gumption this time. And we got it in. I'm not gonna pull it all the way up because we want to see if it's leaking and get it out of our schmoo up there. Just real quick on unsure if my temp sensor was working. That little guy right there with all the corrosion on it is my gauge hookup. It would focus back here on the water pump back there, right there with all the corrosion. This was the lead on it. So if I plug that in, I gotta try to do this. See, it goes up a little bit, so it's getting some connectivity there. So likely my gauge works. And if I ground the gauge wire out, I pinged hot. So that shows the gauge does work. So oddly enough, I'm just connecting onto this clamp, and that's getting it enough ground to show. So I don't know how that's grounded out to something, but it is. So it appears that my gauge is functional, and my sensor might be functional now that I've taken this on and off a couple times and gotten a little bit of corrosion off. So I'm gonna put that back on. I still don't have a fan, so this thing's easily gonna overheat. But one more thing troubleshooted. Oil leak is getting is a little bit worse, you can see there. And it appears to be coming from right around the starter right here. It's wet right down there. Right down there is wet. So I don't know where that's coming from, but it doesn't look promising. And the temp gauge just officially works now, so I don't have a fan, so I'm gonna shut her down. Headlights work, and the mask goes all the way up. Really need to find me some forks, tidy up a couple things on this thing. It is awesome. So somewhat recently got this nice little Toyota forklift here. And per usual, you don't know what you're gonna find in stuff, especially, I guess, warehouse equipment. Makes sense that it's there, but you can see right there, a freaking roll of tape. That thing has been in there for a while. So taking a gander under this thing, trying to figure out where that oil leak is from. Right here at that front corner of the pan, it's all wet, so it looks like maybe the pan's a little bit bent, not getting a good seal there. Or maybe a front main. Kind of just looks like the edge of pan though, where that's the corner that it got dented on, so it's likely just getting pulled down. And then you could also see it was leaking there originally as well, because that corner had been wet from then, and it looks even more wet now. And then of course that stripped out bolt in the back is the other spot we're leaking, but that is the worst one. So we do have a couple things to wrap up on the forklift here as we try to get it functional to use. One of them being, we have this roller right here for the side shift missing, so we got to remake that. That's going to hold these hoses up so they don't get pinched, because right now they're wanting to get pinched and everything. So on the top of there, that'll mount with hose rollers. I do not have the side shift as well. I don't necessarily need it, but I'd like to get it. And then I also don't have a set of forks. I got my carriage sitting way up here. The other thing is we need that cooling fan in there. Also, our crank pulley is bent. I don't know how the heck that happened, but it's been like that since I've had it. I did get myself a cylinder though, so that's you'll see that in a different video. And I think those are the main things. This thing needs to be operational. Here's part of that little protector that the hoses kind of go up there. I do have this, I just don't have the roller assembly. It was missing when I got it, because like I said, they were getting ready to scrap this thing. So they already pulled a couple parts off of it for other units, I guess. And so I just got to get the rest of the way together. So we wrap up this video here. So I want to say thanks for making it to the end. And hopefully this thing will come in handy. If you like this kind of content or have any suggestions on this thing for me, anything to say, just drop a comment below, give the video a like, and subscribe for more projects in the future.